Before she stood at the White House podium or co-anchored on national television, Dana Perino was a quiet girl on a dusty Colorado ranch, dreaming of power, purpose, and escape. But the journey that took her there was anything but easy. In the wide, open skies of Wyoming, where the wind never stops whispering, a little girl named Dana Perino was born in 1972. Her story didn't begin in the halls of power or under bright studio lights. It began on a ranch, where life was honest, hard, and demanding. Her grandfather often told her, "This is the most beautiful country in the world." But beauty, Dana would later learn, could also hide struggle. When she was still a toddler, her parents moved the family to Parker, Colorado, a town small enough for everyone to know your name, but far enough from the spotlight that dreams felt like distant stars. Yet, even there, Dana's eyes were fixed on something bigger. By the time she was 6, she was already curious about the world beyond her fences. The stories, the voices, the headlines. While other kids played with dolls, Dana listened to the evening news with her father. Together, they debate politics, argue over articles, and discuss what truth really meant. It wasn't just a family ritual, it was training for a destiny no one saw coming. In school, she wasn't the loudest girl in the room, but she was sharp, focused, and endlessly curious, the kind of student teachers remembered long after the year ended. At 7 years old, during a family trip to Washington, D.C., Dana stood outside the White House gates for the first time. The sunlight caught the marble walls, and she whispered to herself, "One day, I'll work here." It sounded impossible, but that quiet promise became her lifelong compass. Years later, while most of her classmates were still unsure of what they wanted to do, Dana already had a plan to master communication, persuasion, and the art of leadership. She enrolled at Colorado State University Pueblo, majoring in mass communications, with minors in political science and Spanish. Those choices weren't random. They were calculated, deliberate. She wanted to understand people, policy, and how words could shape both. At CSU Pueblo, she became more than a student. She joined the debate team, fought for ideas with fierce conviction, and found her voice on the school's PBS affiliate, where she learned the power of a camera and a script. When she graduated, she wasn't satisfied. She wanted to go further, faster. So she packed her dreams and moved to Illinois, earning a master's degree in public affairs reporting, a step that would open the gates to Washington itself. But fate, as always, had its own timing. On a flight from Denver to Chicago, a young professional named Dana Perino took her seat, not knowing that her life was about to change forever. Next to her sat a man with a British accent, a warm smile, and an unmistakable charm. His name was Peter McMahon. They talked. They laughed. They connected, as if the universe had arranged it all. When the plane landed, he asked for her contact information. She hesitated for a moment, then handed it over. That small decision would later define decades of her life, a love story intertwined with ambition, distance, and resilience. But before marriage, before fame, before the cameras, Dana still had one thing left to conquer. Washington, D.C., and that city, as she would soon discover, has a way of testing even the most prepared hearts. Because behind every polished political smile, there's a war no one else can see. When Dana Perino left the White House in 2009, she stepped out of one of the most intense jobs in America and into a silence she didn't quite recognize. For the first time in years, there were no flashing cameras, no late-night calls, no frantic questions waiting behind the podium. Just her thoughts, and the echo of everything she'd endured. But Dana wasn't built to fade into the background. Within months, she found a new voice, not as a spokesperson for others, but as herself. Fox News came calling, offering her a platform where her political insight and calm authority could shine. It began with small appearances, commentary, analysis, the occasional guest spot. But audiences noticed her. Her voice was steady, reasoned, and refreshingly composed in an age of shouting. Soon, she became a regular on The Five, the network's fast-paced talk show that mixed debate with personality. Viewers connected with her. The balance of intellect and empathy, steel and grace. But TV was only part of her reinvention. Dana had something deeper to say. In 2010, President Barack Obama appointed her to the Broadcasting Board of Governors, overseeing international U.S. media. It was a bipartisan nod of respect, proof that integrity could outlast politics. That same year, she began teaching political communications at George Washington University. Her students expected a polished TV personality. What they got was a mentor who challenged them to think critically, communicate clearly, and never underestimate humility. Then came her writing, and with it, her heart, her first memoir, and the good news is, pulled back the curtain on life inside the West Wing. It wasn't just a political story, it was a human one. She spoke about exhaustion, purpose, and finding light in chaos. The book became a bestseller, and her second, Everything Will Be Okay, inspired a generation of young women to trust their resilience. But the book that revealed her most tender side was Let Me Tell You About Jasper, a tribute to her beloved Hungarian Vizsla. Through stories of her dog, she showed the part of herself that Washington never saw, the soft, loyal heart behind the professional armor. On television, her influence only grew. In 2017, Fox gave her a solo show, The Daily Briefing with Dana Perino. Calm, factual, and measured, it reflected her own style perfectly. For 4 years, she hosted daily, bridging politics and humanity until the show wrapped in 2021. But Dana didn't stop. She transitioned seamlessly into co-hosting America's Newsroom with Bill Hemmer, continuing to anchor mornings for millions of viewers. In every stage of her career, one truth remained constant. Dana never chased fame. She chased purpose. And every setback only sharpened her clarity. Yet, as her career soared once again, the most meaningful lessons came not from politics or television, but from love, loss, and the quiet moments at home. For all the titles and achievements Dana Perino earned, her greatest stability was never found in studios or press rooms. It was at home. Her husband, Peter McMahon, the British businessman she met by chance on that flight decades ago, remained her anchor through every storm. Together, they built a quiet, grounded life in Bay Head, New Jersey, far from the noise of politics. Their home, a coastal retreat surrounded by white fences and ocean air, became a symbol of peace after years spent under the world's brightest lights. The couple shared a deep love for their dogs, and one in particular captured America's heart, Jasper, her Hungarian Vizsla. He wasn't just a pet. He became part of her identity, often seen by her side on Fox News or featured in her books. When Jasper passed away in 2021, Dana's composure briefly cracked. The loss hit harder than she expected. She described him as her best friend and comfort through every chapter. But from heartbreak came healing. A few months later, she and Peter welcomed Percy, another Vizsla, into their home, a reminder that even in grief, life has ways of renewing itself. By 2023, Dana's story had come full circle. The girl who once dreamed of speaking truth from the White House podium now spoke directly to millions of Americans from their living rooms. That year, she launched her own podcast, Perino on Politics, diving deep into the race for the 2024 presidential election. It was a return to her first love: storytelling, curiosity, and conversation. She also received an honorary doctorate from Colorado State University Pueblo, the same school where her journey began. It wasn't just recognition of her success. It was a symbol of what she represented: resilience, intellect, and integrity. But Dana's influence extends beyond politics. Through her mentorship program, Minute Mentoring, she spent years guiding young women in leadership, teaching them to lead with confidence, communicate with clarity, and never forget kindness. Those who know her best say Dana's strength isn't just in what she's accomplished, but in how she carries herself: calm in chaos, firm but compassionate, always looking for, as she puts it, the good news. Today, when she appears on television, her voice carries more than analysis. It carries wisdom earned from decades of public service, loss, and renewal. From the wide skies of Wyoming to the echoing halls of the White House, Dana Perino's story isn't one of luck. It's one of perseverance, a reminder that grace under pressure can move mountains, and that even the calmest voice can change the course of history. Because for Dana, power was never about control, it was about purpose.